Welcome to the Alabama State Capitol.
We spent last week exploring Alabama's Gulf Coast, where we had fun on the beach and walked around historic Fort Morgan. We also explored a few Florida state parks in the area. This week we are heading to Montgomery, the capital city of Alabama. We stayed at Gunter Hill Campground, just outside of Montgomery. This is an Army Corps of Engineers campground that sits on the backwaters of the Alabama River. This campground has 2 loops, and we stayed in the Katoma loop, which has large sites with full hookups. There is also a large bathhouse with bathrooms and showers, as well as laundry. We loved the Spanish moss draped trees on our site and all around the campground, and we enjoyed walking around the loop and catching a view of the water. The Gunter Hill Campground was just a 20-minute drive away from downtown Montgomery. We chose this city because it is the capital, but also because of its extensive civil rights history. There are several museums here, such as the Rosa Parks Museum and the Freedom Riders Museum, both of which we unfortunately were not able to visit this time, but plan to if we are in the area again someday. One evening we headed to downtown to explore the riverfront. The riverfront park was nice and quiet and had a lot of historical markers along the walkway. The Harriet II, a 19th century riverboat, was also docked here. There is also this cool Hank Williams statue just before the riverfront gate. On Thursday, we took a drive to Selma. It was a 45-minute drive, but since the weather had been cold and rainy during the week, we didn't mind driving in the warm truck. We wanted to check out the historic city and the Edmund Pettus Bridge, just a couple of weeks before the 60th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. On March 7, 1965, 600 unarmed protesters marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, after which they were met with violence by state troopers, armed with batons and tear gas, preventing the march to continue to Montgomery. The 50-mile march from Selma to Montgomery, which was a protest for voting rights, was later completed on March 25th with a demonstration on the steps of the Alabama State Capitol. We drove around downtown Selma a bit, checking out some old buildings and a cool mural. We then stopped just across the bridge at this Civil Rights Memorial Park. Overall, this was a neat little drive to a historic small Alabama city. On Friday, we drove to downtown Montgomery and parked along Dexter Avenue, which goes right up to the front steps of the Capitol. While walking to the Capitol, we passed the Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a pastor from 1954 to 1960. It was also really neat to walk up to the Capitol in the footsteps of those who participated in the Selma to Montgomery March. We were able to walk up the steps to the Capitol and walk right through the front doors. Here we went through security and started our self-guided tour. We walked up this really cool spiral staircase to the 3rd floor to start our tour and work our way down. The dome was pretty neat, and there were several murals underneath depicting Alabama's history from the year 1540 to 1930. The murals were painted by Roderick Mackenzie and depict scenes such as a hostile meeting between Spanish explorers and Tuscaloosa warriors in 1540. the drafting of the first state constitution in 1819, and secession and the Confederacy, as well as Reconstruction and the rebuilding of the economy. We were able to see the Senate and House chambers from both the balconies and the floor. Unlike other state capitals, the legislature doesn't actually meet here, but rather they have been meeting in the Alabama State House just across the street since 1985. The legislative chambers in the Capitol building are designed to be as they were in the late 19th century. It was very interesting walking around this historic Capitol building. After touring the inside of the Capitol, we walked around outside, where we saw a few monuments, such as the Eternal Flame of Freedom honoring veterans and those lost in war, and this big Confederate Veterans Monument. We then crossed the street to the Bicentennial Park, which sits on both sides of Dexter Avenue and contains several bronze relief sculptures depicting moments from Alabama's 200-year history. Some of these include Alabama's first people, the path to statehood, slavery, the Confederacy and Civil War, emancipation and Reconstruction, industrialization, civil rights, today's economy, and the space race. After touring the Capitol grounds and the Bicentennial Park, we decided to grab dinner at J.W. Beverette's Soul Food. This place was small but absolutely wonderful. The service was excellent and the food was so good. Keisha ordered 2 fried chicken breasts with mashed potatoes and gravy, as well as baked mac and cheese. I ordered oxtails and gravy on rice with collard greens and fried okra. Both meals were delicious. The oxtails fell right off the bone, and the gravy on the rice and mashed potatoes was divine. Our sides were amazing too. We also got some dessert to go, a small pecan pie, and a slice of pound cake. Everything here was wonderful. On Saturday, we went to downtown Montgomery again to visit the Legacy Museum. This museum was founded by the Equal Justice Initiative and includes 3 sites: the museum, the Freedom Monument Sculpture Park, and the National Monument for Peace and Justice. Admission is $5, and this price gives you access to the museum as well as the sculpture park and National Monument. There are also free shuttles that will take you to and from all 3 sites. Photos and video are not allowed inside of the museum. We spent a few hours walking through the exhibits that ranged from enslavement to racial terrorism and Jim Crow to present-day incarceration. This museum was extremely well done and very powerful and moving. It is a must-see for everyone and was very busy the day we went. After visiting the Legacy Museum, we decided to eat lunch at Chris's Hot Dogs on Dexter Avenue. This place is a Montgomery institution. It has been here on historic Dexter Avenue since 1917 and has served hot dogs and hamburgers to notable patrons such as Martin Luther King Jr., Elvis Presley, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and F. Scott Fitzgerald and his wife. Here we ordered 2 cheeseburgers and a hot dog, as well as French fries and onion rings. The burgers and hot dogs are served with mustard, onions, and Chris's famous chili sauce. The food here was pretty good, and we were glad that we tried such a well-known spot in downtown Montgomery. After lunch, we strolled down Dexter Avenue to check out the Court Square Fountain. This fountain was built on top of an early artesian well. This area was once the central location of Montgomery's slave trade and sits across from the bus stop where Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, which led to the Montgomery bus boycott. Across the street from the fountain is a statue of Rosa Parks at that bus stop. We also stopped at Lorraine's Bake Shop on Dexter Avenue, where we picked up an oatmeal cream pie and a brownie to try later. Both were delicious. We went back to the Legacy Museum to grab a shuttle to the Freedom Monument Sculpture Park. Photos are only allowed of certain sculptures here. This site overlooks the Alabama River and includes several sculptures showing the torment of enslavement as well as the strength and triumph of those who won their freedom. The enormous National Monument to Freedom rises over the park and has the names of more than 100,000 Black families, connecting people with their ancestors and what they went through. After the sculpture park, we visited the National Monument for Peace and Justice. Photos and videos are allowed here. This monument was very somber and impactful. It memorializes more than 4,400 Black people who were killed between 1877 and 1950 in racial lynchings. Each of the more than 800 steel monuments represents a county in America where at least one of these lynchings took place, and contains the names of those who were murdered. This powerful memorial is huge, and we were very moved walking through and under these monuments. We were extremely humbled by the legacy sites. Montgomery and its history of enslavement and civil rights activism is the perfect city to host such a powerful museum. After spending the day learning so much and reflecting, we went back to the campground to get ready to head out the next day. We had a great time exploring downtown Montgomery, Alabama. We enjoyed the scenic beauty of our campground on the Alabama River, toured the state capitol, and ate some wonderful soul food. We were also touched by the civil rights history of this city, from Rosa Parks to the Legacy Museum and the National Monument for Peace and Justice. Montgomery is a very quiet capital city with a lot of history to soak up, and we highly recommend checking it out. Hope you enjoyed!